on YouTube. Attention. Okay, and we are live on YouTube. Oh, strange.
Awesome.
Get more than that. And yes, we are also live in 30 seconds. Okay. And we are now live. We are live on YouTube at KGS Global, and we are here on Big Marker. We are having today the final Thursday, Blue Beauty Thursday webinar series. And of course, the final, not the final, but the final before the holiday season. And we will start again in January. And today, our special guest and who is invited is Jeannie, Jarnot, who is the founder and CEO of the Beauty Heroes, and who is the founder of this Blue Beauty movement and awards. Kelly Kovac, she is our dearest partner. She's my favorite media and news to read. You know, I just was thinking today, like, if there would be like one news channel which I'm allowed to watch, I'm telling you, I would choose yours.
Aw, thank you.
I just enjoy your publications, and everything is like very good, interesting topics, and it all goes very nicely with the visuals and simple, good structure, and just the right amount of emails per week, let's say. I'm just like totally crazy about it, and this is and Kelly, in addition to that, this is such a great content she's producing. She's an amazing person. She never tell me no, whatever I ask, everything yes. And I don't know how you do it, because you've been an incredible good partner during all these years, and we get a lot of great, interesting content from you, content ideas. And thank you for agreeing to facilitate this meeting today, because it's a special meeting. Yes. As I mentioned, Jeannie Jarnot, our hero. And we have done a couple of very, very nice series with Jeannie Jarnot. These very interesting founders of the brands who are doing not just good for the planet, but also trying to contribute more than that. Yes, it will be available on our network. There will be a link below. And now, without any further ado, I would like to, I can't wait to hear, this interview today, facilitated by Kelly and Jeannie as main guests, finally.
Well, thank you, Irina, for all those very kind words. It's easy to partner with people who make it very collaborative. So it's always sort of our pleasure to do things with you. And Jeannie, it's exciting to be able to have a one-on-one conversation with you and all of sort of your hard work you've done around this topic. I know we don't have a lot of time, and time always flies by on these things. So I'm going to dive right in. And, I'd love to know a bit about your backstory and how you arrived at your Blue Beauty mission.
Yeah, I mean, it's very organic, no pun intended. I think, I started Beauty Heroes with a very simple idea to help people discover truly healthy beauty in a focused and intentional way. And it was partially inspired by my experience as a spa director and just as a woman and a consumer, and seeing us really being more conscious about our decisions and wanting to value quality over quantity. And people being overwhelmed by the amount of products they had in their life, the amount of products they had in their bathroom, feeling sort of uncomfortable with the amount of consumption that they were, kind of putting out in the world. And so I think, just like all of us, we are all waking up to the importance of, caring for our environment, and as a business owner, it goes one step further, because as a consumer, you want to make responsible decisions, but as a business owner, you want to, you're contributing to consumption, you're contributing to sort of the economy and to things moving around, and you want to feel like you're doing so responsibly. And so all of that sort of, thought that goes into starting a business and wanting to do it in a conscious way is what, it's a personal awakening. And then it's like, it's on a bigger scale when you're running a business and you're making decisions that are impacting, your customers all over the world, your employees, and sort of the, what you're putting out in the world. And I want to, I think Beauty Heroes and our evolution has really reflected my personal evolution.
So, Irina mentioned the fact that you've sort of held this series of conversations on the topic. Can you share a little about the conversations, and were there any surprises that kind of came up, or recurring themes?
Yeah. So, I think it was really fun to work with Irina on this, because she brought a lot of people that I didn't know about and had never heard about before in the industry. And I got to have these very fresh conversations. I brought a couple of guests to the table who I knew really well, and we could actually have deeper conversations. So sort of this combination of people that I thought were, leading in the industry, and new people who I think, and brands that were just, wanting to do well. And I will say I had a few surprises. I think one of the ones was Act Beauty. That's one of the ones that sticks out. That was a really fun brand to share. It's two guys who I think created product really authentically and wanted to create something really, I love those brands where it's like, it just makes sense. It's common sense to create, for them, you could see their process. They wanted to create something that works, and they wanted to create it in a way that was light on the environment. And they went, they had no experience in the beauty consumer packaging goods industry. And so they created something totally different with their deodorant in a refillable tube with a gua sha stone that you can apply deodorant with. And it's just like, really a beautiful product. It kind of took personal care it sort of elevated personal care and deodorant to a new space. And they had a great story. And that, two performers, dancers, actors, from the UK who launched this really successful line. So that was a great surprise. One of my other really great surprises was talking with Stuart from Bradford and kind of diving in. We spent a long time prior to our call, to our webinar, talking about solid personal care and what it really, the positive impact it really potentially can make, and the possibility and opportunities there. And so that was really, really eye-opening for me. And I hope more people watch that series, because I think it's a trend for the future.
So, I think one of the challenges around, all these green, clean, blue, is that there are so many terms and categorizations, but there is no real harmonized description. So it leaves it all very open to interpretation. How do you describe Blue Beauty?
Yeah, it's a frustration that many hold, like even the biggest one is around the word natural, or organic. It's not regulated. With Blue Beauty, I define it as efforts that brands are making to create a positive impact on the environment through their company. So it could be through product development. It could be through initiatives that they have in their company. It could be through packaging, innovation, or even education around ingredients, products, packaging, how to consume smarter. So all of those things sort of ladder up together towards, and I think there's the Blue Beauty Awards, which I know we're going to talk about a little bit, really are about celebrating innovation. We had Rachel Roberts on the webinar a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about how everybody suddenly is talking about sustainability. We've been talking about it for a while now, and it's great. It's, you can't stop talking about it. People are really hyper-focused on it now, and there is a lot of energy from companies to get on board and to assure consumers that they are a responsible company that's thinking about the future of our planet. And I think that's important as businesses. Like I said, in my own, sort of awakening, we hold a responsibility to do the best that we can to, for green beauty or sustainable beauty, or having a sustainability program at your company, right? For example, even big companies outside of the beauty industry, that being green means really reducing your impact, minimizing your impact, doing what you can on that front. Blue takes it one step further and says, okay, well, we've really done a good job at minimizing our impact on the environment. How can we actually make a positive impact on the environment? What are the ways that we can do that in our company? And the answer to how that can take shape is endless, really. And that's what these conversations are meant to do, is to really inspire brands to look at what can we do internally to be green, to be blue. It really doesn't matter. We sort of say there's a thin line between that. It's, it's sort of like it's not hard and fast what's blue, what's green, but it's really about pushing the envelope and seeing how can we create a better industry, because we're all in this planet together. And that's what the series here is meant to do, is to share best practices, share inspiring conversations, and help others see what some people are doing really well, borrow that, and apply it to their own companies. And that's what the Blue Beauty movement is about. It's about pushing us all forward together.
So, there's an awful lot of clean, green, blue washing that happens. Do you have any warnings for brands that are pushing the boundaries on these claims? And then sort of on the flip side of that, what advice do you have for brands that are really putting in the hard work, and how can they best communicate those efforts and really be able to take credit for them and leverage them?
Yeah, I think the warning that I would say to brands who are, clean washing, green washing, blue washing, is that, consumers are smart. They see through that, and they're getting smarter. And also, there's, people will be called out, I think, if they're by their employees, by, watchdogs, whistleblowers. You saw that quite a bit this year with the Black Lives Matter movement. Brands were really being called out for their diversity claims and inclusion claims that they made that weren't really, that employees weren't really feeling were truly happening within the company. So, my advice to brands is to genuinely care, and to really, involve your employees in your initiatives, get them to brainstorm with you, buy into initiatives, give you ideas, participate, collaborate, and get make it a part of your culture. Culture is so valuable within companies. And so Blue Beauty is something that everybody, your Blue Beauty or sustainability initiatives, or any of the positive initiatives, those are really great opportunities to engage with your team. because people want to be a part of a company that's doing well. So I would say, don't just take action, but involve your team in that action. And yeah, for companies that are clean washing, greenwashing, not being transparent, it'll come out in the wash eventually.
It always does. That's where you go back to, like, your mother always tells you to tell the truth. Well, it's real easy if you tell the truth. You don't get yourself in trouble, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the second year for
mean-
the Blue Beauty Awards. That's a mouthful. Can you share a little bit about the genesis of these awards and why you started them, and what kind of brands should really consider putting themselves forward?
Well, Irina started the Blue Beauty Awards. This was her idea. And I think, when I think about what we've been working on over the last year, it's really cool to see. I think it's because, I don't know, I think there's been some women leaders who really, we feel like there is a true, genuine responsibility to the environment. For some reason, I feel like it's, Irina really latched onto it. And there's a couple of other women in my life who've really said, wow, this is really great. I want to support this. I want to just be a part of the conversation. And I think that is, really just encouraging. And that's what I always intended with Blue Beauty on the Beauty Heroes site, was to highlight our brand, the brands that we work with, and what they were doing to contribute to the environment, because that was part of their DNA. I mean, I think that's where Blue Beauty really started. I was working with green beauty brands. We never called them green beauty. We called them healthy beauty, but generally really, sustainable, conscious brands. And they were starting and had been for years working on initiatives within their company to make a positive impact, either socially or environmentally. It was just part of like what these indie brands and founders had a reason for what they wanted to accomplish through their company. And when the light bulb went off for me, like, oh, well, Blue Beauty is really, green beauty has been sort of in this space for a while. We should be telling these stories. That's how we started it on the Beauty Heroes website. But the idea was really to pull people into this conversation. And that's what I love so much about the webinar. That's what I love so much about the Blue Beauty Awards, is it's pulling people into this conversation and helping to showcase brands that are, making strides, innovating. I see a lot of cool things come through Beauty Heroes, which is, and I think one of the best things about the Blue Beauty Awards was I got to see a lot of innovation in this space through the submissions and through the nominations. So it's furthering the conversation and celebrating real wins. And you're going to be a judge on the awards.
Yes.
With me and Deanna Utrosky this year. So you'll see for yourself that, we get to see what people are putting their hearts in and then celebrate them with the Blue Beauty Awards. And that's really rewarding.
So how does your description of Blue Beauty translate to how you evaluate brands for for Beauty Heroes? As an independent retailer, I'm sure there are also sort of a lot of challenges that go through, navigating just what we're going through now. But being an independent beauty retailer is challenging, because there are a lot of people, especially online, to compete with. But you do have a unique positioning. And so what is it that you look for in the brands you partner with?
Yeah, well, I will say first and foremost, we are looking for we're looking for innovation in this space at Beauty Heroes. So that brands who are, creating something that creates less waste, almost, kind of classified as zero waste. We are definitely actively seeking those types of innovations, and they've done really well at Beauty Heroes. With each brand that we launch, we evaluate, packaging, sourcing, ingredients, definitely sort of a separate topic. But all of that's really considered. I think, for our customer base, wasteful is distasteful. So anything that feels like it's overpackaged, overdone, not necessary, not really essential, and down to the true, like, sort of essence of the product, that's just not for Beauty Heroes. In terms of their Blue Beauty initiatives, it's something that we don't have like a qualification or a criteria, like, oh, you need to have something in place. You need to be giving back to an environmental cause. You need to be carbon neutral. You need to be carbon positive. These are all things that we're talking about with our brands, and then sort of and it's really been working for us. We do Blue Beauty features, and what we do is we celebrate them when they happen, and they're happening at such a great clip where, brands, I have 3 brands within the last month that have put in place a program to become plastic positive. So we celebrate those for our brands. We do the storytelling, we celebrate their initiatives, and that inspires others to take those steps. And so it's sort of had this snowball effect.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are like, oh, they did it, I could do it too. That would feel, now it's becoming more apparent how we can actually, put these programs in place.
Mm-hmm. So I would imagine that you service a pretty conscious consumer. Can you provide some insight to what makes these customers tick, and what are their non-negotiables?
Yeah. I think for the conscious consumer, like I said, wasteful is just distasteful. So, like, if we put something out, it's happened before where we put something out and we really liked the product, but the packaging was, over unnecessary. They'll comment on it, and they'll comment on it publicly. So I think, you have to, when you're thinking about your packaging, if you're trying to market to a conscious consumer, the way things are presented, and I don't know, they smell BS really quickly, in terms of, like, if you're making a claim, but then they receive the product and it's not really following through, they can really sense that. A lack of transparency in ingredients is a total non-negotiable for this consumer. They're really smart, they're educated, and they understand the difference between different clean standards. And I think, inclusivity and social awareness and embracing diversity is really a non-negotiable for this customer. If you're not, we saw that this year for sure, that, all of our customers were concerned about inclusivity, and supporting Black-owned brands, LGBTQ owned brands, a diversity of brands. So they're really conscious of it. They're hyper aware of it, and they want to support. They want to support indie brands. They want to support diversity in products. And I would say the other thing that's really really palpable is that they are focused on quality over quantity. They just really want less but better. And that's what Beauty Heroes launched with. So I think we were a little bit ahead of the curve. I remember when I started the company, and we were doing a monthly discovery that had, one full-size product and a sidekick, and it was from one brand. And it was smaller, but more, high value, very high value, but, just one thing, not a bunch of things in a box. People were, would say to us, like, or say to me when I started the company, it was just me, and say, what's exciting about that? That's so boring. Like one hero product and one, maybe there were 2 products in a discovery from one brand. That's so boring. They weren't excited about that. And now it's really become the trend where it's like, hey, I want fewer things. I want better quality. I want them highly curated, and I want them from brands that actually care. And I want a curator who gets me,
Yeah. So I have one last question for you. And, I think there's been a lot going on this year. I think this is a year that I don't think any of us will remember. I don't think any of us will want to remember it, but it will leave it's going to leave an imprint that will probably follow everyone for decades to come. But COVID-19 has really been a great accelerator when it comes to trends, both out of necessity, but I also think people are willing and open to trying new things. But on the flip side of that, we've also seen statistics where on one hand, they're willing to try new things and new products, but on the other hand, they're drawn to larger brands that they can trust. So I'm not really sure how you square those two things, but they are in fact happening in tandem. But what trends are you seeing sort of in the clean beauty space?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so interested to hear about that because I think from my perspective through COVID, everything's sort of leveling out, right? We're sort of, I don't know, I was just, for the first 6 months, I think I was in a perpetual state of shock that this was actually happening, right? And now I'm more in this space where I'm like, okay, this is definitely happening. This is, it's really normal for me to be putting a mask on all the time. I've got many masks around. It's not so foreign. And we understand that this is going to go on for a while. I think when it first hit, we thought, oh my gosh, we hope this is over in like 3 months. And then when it kept dragging on, it was just like a perpetual, state of shock. So I think through that time, we will all, I think, remember where our headspace was and what was when we were, initially locked down, and we were all tuning into a lot of streaming events, conversations. Now online conversations like this are very regular, but in the beginning of COVID, they were, everyone was looking for connection, and I felt like there was, a lot of support for indie brands. I think people thought, okay, people are on hard times. I want to support independent brands that I want to be around when this is over. I think people think like that. They're like, even here in our town, people are coming out and they're actually saying, they're articulating, I really want to support you because I really want you to stay around. I really want you to be here when this lifts. And so I feel like direct to consumer, that was an interesting thing for us as a retailer. We are, direct to consumer became really normal, and people were willing to try. I feel like they were willing to try, independent brands out on their own, and maybe not, go around their traditional channels of shopping because they were online, and they were seeing cool ads for cool things from companies that were really interesting and maybe new to them. So I don't know how you square that either. I think for me, the trends that I'm seeing is that using less is going mainstream. I think anything wasteful is distasteful. I think you're seeing that that people the mainstream is really seeing, the need for us to minimize our consumption and minimize our impact on the environment and to have less stuff. And extraneous packaging really is sort of a turnoff. And, not, this throwaway culture is a turnoff. So I think that that's definitely a trend that I'm seeing. I think a trend that is here to stay is Black owned and supporting Black owned companies. I think through the pandemic and through the racial justice conversation and, uprising that we've had in America, we've finally been able to talk about race in a new way. And it's been really, it's, hopefully not going away. And it's a trend that I hope continues, and that, we definitely hear from our customers that they want to support Black-owned brands. They want to support brands owned by people of color, and they want to see that in our space and in every space. So there's that. We didn't talk a lot at all. We actually hadn't mentioned the conversation that I had with Loop. One of the Blue Beauty conversations. It was definitely one of the most dense conversations I had, and super enlightening. And, I think, we said beauty and personal care need to get on board with Loop now. And I think in going deep with Loop, it was really, I had some really real epiphanies about what I think Loop is going to be really good for. I think it's going to be good for a lot of products and not for everything. And if I had to predict, I think that we're going to be, I think we're going to be engaging with Loop and refillable products a lot faster than we think we are. And I think the thing that I really, felt, I'll call it here, is that I think Amazon will acquire Loop. I think it makes total sense. And I think that we'll be engaging, we'll soon be getting a lot of products in a refillable circular packaging format and be, putting it out with our Amazon. We'll be receiving it through Amazon and putting it out for Amazon to pick up. And then the last one that I'm personally super excited about is solid personal care. That was really inspired by, my conversation with Bradford, the Blue Beauty conversation that I had, and really seeing the potential for solid personal care and the relevance it has in our lives. And I think that was a surprise for me. And I think that's definitely, we're going to be seeing a lot of innovation in that space.
Yeah, the whole refillable thing, it's really interesting because the conversation has been going on for a long time, but it feels like in the past 6 months, there has been sort of this tipping point where the adoption is becoming faster. And maybe that's also because like P&G just rolled out a program with Asda in the UK. It like refillable in one of their stores. Amore Pacific did it in a store in South Korea. So, once you sort of see it happening from the big beauty brands, it makes it more possible for small brands to do it efficiently too. Irina, you're here. We're getting the hook.
Just in time. Yeah.
We are.
We keep them, this conversation shorter because, we are spending more and more time online. But thank you, Kelly, and thank you, Jeannie, to talk a little bit about what you say. It's such a little small part, that we've been having a lot of good conversations, and we invite you to the Beauty Influence Network, to see all the past videos as well. I'm super excited about the upcoming awards. I super excited about you guys judging the Blue Beauty Awards, and we hope to find some interesting new brands. So if you're listening this webinar on demand till now, please, if you hear about any brands who are doing good for the planet or for people, Black Lives Matters, any kind of these purpose-driven activity, we would like to know, and we have 2 awards. One is the product awards, Blue Beauty, and one is leadership, to recognize the leaders. So we would like to discover some new interesting leaders and ideas. And would you like to say something in the end?
No, thank you for having us. Okay. And you know, Jeannie, thanks for all the hard work you're doing on this conversation. So we're just happy to be part of the conversation as well.
Yeah, it's very important. I just realized how when we started this conversation, I just seen it in my eyes. You know, why I understand why we're doing it, because yes, if you just start talking about it, that's already brings people inspired for the movement, and this is what we are here to do. And I absolutely agree that when we come back from the pandemic, we will not be the same people. No. At least I will not be the same, and I'm sure. And we will not be you know, maybe totally exactly like we are now. We will relax a little bit, but we always will see. I appreciate this time to take and to understand, you know, where we're going, and having a conversation like that is important.
Yeah, I agree.
So much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Okay, bye.
Looking forward.